My name's Ray Gano, and I am the author of a book called Survive the Coming Storm. Just came out, and Tom Horn's my publisher, and so I'm very grateful to Tom and Nita Horn for taking my project on. They were very helpful in getting me this going, and I have a passion for preparedness. I am the executive director of a website called Prophezine. Prophezine's been around for about 1992 on, and it deals with Bible prophecy and world events. And in everything that's been going on, I've been seeing the rubber meet the road. I believe that we are living in the last days of the last days. And in fact, I believe we're living on the razor's edge. But we don't know how long we're going to be here. And so I see a lot of things that are still going on that are needed, and particularly sharing the gospel with the world. It talks about the age of the Gentiles. And when the age of the Gentiles is fulfilled, we go home. Well, I see a lot of people who don't know the Lord, and there's a lot of people filling the church pews that still don't know the Lord. So I feel the need that we as individuals need to start preparing and be a credible witness to what I believe is coming is a hyperinflation scenario or a depression scenario, a very drastic economic situation. And this talk is food, water, medicine. First of all, I want to tell people I am not a prophet. I'm not a son of a prophet. I don't claim prophet or anything like that. Come on in. Yeah, we're good. So I don't want anybody thinking I'm a prophet or anything. I'm just a common old watchman on the wall. I see what's going on and I report it. So that's what I do. And I don't want people think I'm something special or anything. I put my pants on just like everybody else. I'm just a common person who works and loves the Lord. But what I believe that we are living in the end times. I believe that we are living in the last days of the last days. With all that said, and with all the Bible prophecy, how many people are Bible prophecy buffs here? Wow, good number of you, cool. With all that's going on, we don't know when the rapture is going to happen. I'm pre-trib, so I do not know when the rapture is going to happen. No one does. But Christ said, occupy till I return, and always be ready to share the hope that's within us. So how do I do this? If I'm to always means always in good times and bad, then I need to be ready to share the gospel always. Now, I believe that we are going to see an economic hardship. This nation has suffered 2 hyperinflations and 1 depression. And about every 100 years, this nation goes through that cycle. Well, about 2005, 2006, we entered that time frame again. A time of chaos is what I call it. And we are seeing that take place already. We are seeing higher food prices. We're seeing our currency be devalued, unemployment. We are seeing, you name it, you see the news every time too. So you see it happening. Well, we have a great opportunity to share the gospel with people who are not ready. And those of us who are Christians, we have a chance to share the gospel with credibility, because we've seen the writing on the wall. How many people are going to listen to the guy next to them in the food kitchen line or the soup kitchen line? They're not. They're going to listen to people with credibility. And so my goal is to be credible so that when someone comes up to me and asks me the hope that's within me, I'm going to be able to give them the truth and share the gospel with them. So that is my whole drive for preparedness. I'm preparing to share the gospel. What I believe, again, occupy till I return, 1 Peter 3:15, always be ready to share the hope that's within you. So those are my drive verses. That's what I'm driven by.
Whoa, that's not good.
Oh, I don't need this. I'm already late.
Somebody will come. Anybody out there?
Do you have a phone?
No. Sorry. Somebody! Hello? There are 2 people stuck on an escalator and we need help. Now, would somebody please do something? I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I'm gonna cry.
Well, there's not enough left to do, is it?
Hello? Hey, don't worry about it. I'll fix it in a second.
He said he can fix it. All right. All right. That's more like it. He says he can fix it.
Life is good when I see the sunlight in the morning. Lying in my bed, it's Monday 10 a.m. Walk across the room and open up the window.
Now, that was a commercial that ran up in Canada, and it was for some heart or cardiac company or hospital or something like that. But I loved the commercial because it kind of explains a lot of the attitude with people today. Yeah, you wouldn't believe how many those of you who are like Bible prophecy students, or you're just talking, there's a lot of people out there, it seems like they just don't have it together or don't know what's going on. I kind of call this the 80-20 rule. Out of 100% of people, or 100 people, 80 of them will kind of know, but it's like right over their head, nothing. But 20% will know something about it, and when finally the 80% wake up, it's going to be way too late. And the reason I show this video, and the reason I say this, is to ask you the question, which one are you? Learning from Japan. We have a great opportunity, and I feel bad about what's taking place in Japan and everything, but we have a great opportunity to really see something or a major disaster affect a nation. Hollywood has portrayed a lot of stuff that a lot of people have bought into. I don't believe in a zombie attack. I don't believe in mutant gangs from the outskirts lands riding bikes coming after me or anything like that. I don't believe in an apocalyptic world that's going to take place or anything like that. What I believe is what's going to happen historically that's happened over and over and over again. People eventually are going to adapt and overcome to the disaster. And we're seeing that right now in Japan. Japan was hit horrendously. And what's interesting about Japan is that 80% of their people were not prepared. And what bothers me is that they knew this was coming. They live in one of the most earthquake-ridden areas in the world. On top of that, they got volcanoes also. But here they knew all this information. They knew that this was coming. And yet 80% of the population did nothing. And what's amazing is within hours, the store shelves were emptied. No water, no food, no gas. And it's still that way today. They're still slowly getting up and running, but they are seriously hurting as a nation. And so this is a laboratory that we here can really look at and see what is going on there and realize that no, the mutant zombies are not coming. It's people who are hurt, and we're going to have to deal with it. And so people are going to adapt and overcome. That's what I believe is going to happen when hyperinflation hits. So again, what I need to ask you is, what are you going to be? Are you going to be the 80% who do nothing, knowing that it's coming, or are you going to do something about it and prepare for the coming storm? And that's what I write about, preparing for the coming storm. But something that, how many here are bazillionaires? No. Yeah. Millionaires? No. Okay. We're all in the same boat together. I don't have $1 bazillion to go spending on some outback retreat or run from the city or anything like that. I write about realistic stuff for real people, and I don't believe in the mutant zombie attacks or anything that Hollywood has sold us. You know, I don't pretend to be Will Smith running around and shooting zombies or Mad Max with the gangs or anything. We're going to have to deal with everyday issues with everyday people. Where to start? Starting your home preparedness supplies can be a very daunting task. In fact, many start due to feeling overwhelmed and often quit. A lot of people do that. They'll start getting into the preps and they start looking at how much money it is and then how much time it takes and everything, and their mind goes and they just lose it. And so what they do is, instead of doing anything about it, they just quit. And what I want to talk to you guys about is how to do it slowly, taking baby steps. And that's what I want to teach here today. So every time you go to the grocery store, what you need to do is you need to just buy a little bit. It's very easy. Here, this is what I bought one time. This is my average buy at the grocery store. You can see I got a bag of rice, bag of beans. I get something behind the beans too. Some jambalaya mix, because we like to eat jambalaya. Some peas, some corn, and some Spam. Buying a little bit at a time every time you're at the store is doable. And after a while, you'll be amazed about how much food you've got when you've just bought a little bit. This is what I call baby steps. Baby step, taking little baby steps. We are able to do this if you remember to do it. I know that sounds kind of weird and everything, but you need to make a habit of being a prep. Prepping is a lifestyle. It isn't something that you just wake up and you start, oh, I'm going to be a prepper. You start doing it over and over and over again. And again, baby steps is the way to go. And here, this is a list, where to start. Now, if you email me, come by my table, get my business card. And this is what I was talking to, what's your name? Roger. I was talking to Roger about. This is a 52-week list. And if you take $5 and just buy each one of these items, now some may be a little bit more, some may be a little less, but buy one of these items per week, you're going to be set pretty well. In fact, as you can see here, you're going to have 500 pounds of wheat, 100 pounds of sugar, 40 pounds of powdered milk, 12 pounds of salt, honey, soup, blah, 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 blah. These are baby steps. Now, if you went out, now you can go out and buy all this all at once if you wish, but that's a chunk of change. And I don't know about you, I don't have $500 to just drop instantly. Well, today's prices, that'll probably be about $700, but and next week about $1,000. But you see what I mean. If you're just buy one thing at a time, but you got to be persistent. Now, another thing that you need to do is find some closet or some place to keep your prep items. If you have a place, then you'll do it. That's half the battle. So go out and just start slowly buying what you eat. Now, the key is, though, is how many here are gluten intolerant? Anybody? Okay, gluten intolerant people. So you're not going to go out and buy wheat or flour or anything like that. How many people here grind their own wheat for flour? Okay, so not very many here. But, so are you going to go out and actually buy all this wheat? I would recommend for you to, and then go buy a grinder so you can. But how many people here make their own bread on a regular basis? Right on. Cool. That's good. Yeah. So what you need to do is when you're buying some of these items you need to think about, am I really going to eat this or not? Buy what you eat. That's rule number one. Buy what you eat what you buy. And it's a very simple process to do. Now, another thing, in that prior list that I was showing you, something I want to bounce off here a little bit is appetite fatigue. Appetite fatigue is something serious and something that you really, really need to take in consideration. What appetite fatigue will probably hit within 30 days. What it is you bought 200 pounds of rice and 200 pounds of beans. Well, you're good to go. That's a year's worth of food. You know, and it's interesting. A lot of people think about that and they go, wow, I'm prepared. I got 200 pounds of rice and beans and some of this, that, and the other. Well, what you need to do to take into consideration is appetite fatigue. After 30 days, you will start taking place with appetite fatigue. Your motivation will go low. You'll become lethargic. You'll actually start losing the will to succeed And after a while, you'll start losing the will to live because you're eating the same thing over and over again. A child, about age 5 and below, can suffer with appetite fatigue in about 2 weeks to 30 days. A child will choose to starve to death than eat this food. So the key is variety. And this is why I talk about, that first 52-week plan, that gives you a foundation. But once you have that, that is not the end all to be all. Your next point is to start getting variety in this. Here I'm getting ahead of myself actually. Food is the number one thing that I think everybody needs to be concerned about. A lot of people, you see this thing here on, he's prepared. He's got every gun in the world, all the magazines in the world. He's ready for the zombie invasion. Well, what is he going to eat? So, and then there's Bubba down there. But what's amazing to me is that so many people go out and spend bazillions of dollars on gear and cool stuff and cool guy stuff and all this other stuff. But in reality, what they need to be spending their money on is food. It's amazing to me that people spend thousands of dollars on a gun and yet will skimp every way they can on food. They'll go buy the cheapest rice they can, the cheapest beans they can. They'll just go cheap. Well, down the road, that's going to pay. That's going to they're running into chance of appetite fatigue, and appetite fatigue kills. That's okay. I got that one. What we need to do is when you have your foundation, that 52-week foundation, you then need to start adding variety to your food. Now, you can do several things. You can go out and buy all the fancy freeze-dried stuff, which I highly recommend. I'll talk to you more about that. But start learning to be self-sufficient. And in our family, we've learned how to be self-sufficient by canning, dehydrating, pickling. And what I'm going to talk about here is some of the things that we do. Again, I'm not a millionaire. I don't have a bazillion dollars to be spending or anything. And those of you who got note paper, now's the time to really start taking notes. Because, you mind if I take off my jacket? Thank you. I've worked very hard at buying the best that I can. Money doesn't grow on trees for our family. I don't know about you guys. We're not inherited with lots of money either or anything, so we pinch our pennies pretty tight. And the reason I'm saying all this is that by learning to live on your own, being more self-sufficient, being able to prepare your food yourself is a vital, vital skill. Our great-grandparents knew how to do all this stuff. We all forgot it, or just we weren't taught it. But these are skills that were not passed down, or were not learned, or not acquired. And our generation and our children's generation are suffering from it. We have this thing called Walmart, and that's all we know. We don't know. In fact, it's funny, my friend down the street, she calls it the magic place because she doesn't have the heart to slaughter her own animals. So I went to the magic place to get my chicken. So it just shows up from out back, so. But the reason I say recommendations here is that I'm not pitching products here for you to go buy, and I'm not making money off of these things. These are products that I have tested, I believe in, my own family owns, and I figure if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for y'all. I consider myself the laboratory rat, and because my readers, I have about 8,000 readers, and so my readers trust what I say, and I'm not going to put my good name on something unless I've tried it out myself for sure. And so these are products that I highly, highly recommend. First of all, canning. I know how to can, and I can spend weeks about canning. How many here can? Okay, so I don't need to talk about canning. which I'm not. But if you guys don't know how to can, this is a vital skill that you need to learn. And right here is called Food Storage Secrets. It is a 3 DVD set. Go to my website and you order it for there. I think it's something like $40 or something. And then also they give you a guide, a book and everything with it too. But this is how I learned how to can. And I loved this DVD series. Now, for some of you guys who are pro canners and everything like that, this will be boring to you. But if you don't know how to can or you're a beginning canner, this is the best series I have found out there teaching you how to can. Again, I think it was like 45 or 49, something like that. But get it from my website, prophezine.com. You can order it there. So that's all I'm going to really say about canning. Learn it. You need to learn how to do it and then start doing it. But my thing, some of the things that I like, is pickling. And this is called a Hirsch pot. And it is a kind of like a German invention, I guess. But this is how they make pickles over in Germany, Poland, Czechoslovakia. Also, the same principle applies to Korea. They make kimchi in this. And what it is let's make sure, lactic acid fermentation. And lactic acid fermentation is a forgotten art. And the thing about lactic acid fermentation is that it produces probiotics that are great for your belly and your gut and your intestines. But what it does also is that during the Spanish flu era, if any of you done any research on the Spanish flu, where millions and millions of people died, countries that had lactic acid fermentation processes didn't. Their mortality rates were quite low. And what's found out is that lactic acid beats the flu, or the lactic acid fermentation, whatever it is that's in the process or something like that, prevents the flu. And so when H1N1 came around, I was canning up my own sauerkraut and everything to help prevent the flu. And in fact, you can drink the juice when you're canning sauerkraut and everything, and it's good for ulcers. So lactic acid fermentation is a great process for the digestive system. And the digestive system, especially in times of stress and trouble and hardship, is the system that is beat on the most, because when times are tough, we eat a lot of junk, and there's this, we'll go out and eat anything. But the key is during times of tough, you need to take care of your digestive system. And so the Hirsch pot, great product. And let's see if I can get my video to play here.
Hey folks, Ray here, Survival for Christians, and what I'm doing is I am jarring up my sauerkraut that I've made. I've made sauerkraut utilizing a Hirsch pot. It's called Hirsch pot, and I'm using a process called lactic acid fermentation. And what you do is you put your vegetables and so forth in this pot, and what happens is after a while lactic acid starts building up, and that becomes the preservative. That's what pickles your cabbage, your carrots. What I've got here, I've got some carrots, I've got some cauliflower, I've got some Napa cabbage in this, I've got some regular cabbage in this, and what I've done is let it sit for about 6 to 8 weeks, and now it's delicious tasting sauerkraut, and or a pickled vegetable medley or something, if you would say. But here, let me get the camera and let you look at it. In here, as you can see, is the sauerkraut. And what you do is you put your cabbage, your carrots, and so forth in this pot, put it up with a salt brine, and like I said, the natural bacteria is what creates the lactic acid. And the wonderful thing about lactic acid, as opposed to other pickling methods, is that lactic acid has probiotics. That means that it helps your tummy develop the positive bacteria that it needs for proper digestion. Now, another thing, and this is why I am pickling right now, or why I'm making kraut right now and so forth, is that lactic acid sauerkraut or lactic acid pickling is also a known cure or a known preventative means to stop the flu. And so in every society where they've had lactic acid pickling or fermentation processes, the flu has really been down. In the early 1900s, when the Spanish flu was taking place, they noticed that in countries such as Germany, Hungary, Poland, that utilized lactic acid processing or ate a lot of sauerkraut, suffered very few consequences of the flu. You can make pickles, you can make sauerkraut, you can do all kinds of things. Link you to a website where I got my first pot, and I think that I can actually, if you're interested in purchasing this, pass you on a coupon so that you can get it at a discounted price. I know the person who sells this. I'm not getting any kickback or anything like that, but when I send you this website, I believe the coupon code is VIP customers, and I believe she'll give you something like 5 or 10% off of the pot. This pot here cost us, Tracy got this for Christmas for me 2 years ago, and at that time it cost, I believe, just over $100 or just under $100. I believe the prices are pretty much still the same. This is a 10-liter pot. So Tracy, you're eating my fresh sauerkraut that I just made. What do you think?
I like it.
Good?
Good. Mm-hmm.
Yep. How does it taste?
It's really good. It's not overpowering or anything. It's just got a good, mild flavor.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. If you're interested.
Again, I'm not an Academy Award winner, but that is my beautiful wife.
You said that was the ultimate food.
Ultimate-food-product. Ultimate, oh, wait, excuse me, yeah. Ultimate-food-weight-product. Thank you.
Food, weight, product.
What was it? What is it, Roger?
Ultimate-weight-products.com.
Okay, thank you. And the VIP code is VIP code. Yeah. VIP customer. The code is VIP customer, and you'll get 5% off, which will save on taxes or whatever, maybe shipping. 5% is 5%. The price, and I actually looked these up just a couple days ago just to make sure, they are still around the 100 to 125 for the 10-liter pot. That's the one that I use. If you get the smaller pot, I believe they do like a 5-liter, it's too small. And that's actually for more daily use if you're going to eat it every day. The 10-liter will produce so that I got, I want to say about 6 or 7 jars, quart jars. Is that a quart jar? Yeah. Out of that pickling right there. And I use the juice out of it also. And what you need to do is when you do pickle it, do not leave it on the shelf. You've got to keep it in the refrigerator, because if you leave it on the shelf like kimchi, it'll explode. I'm serious. It'll blow up, because the active probiotics that is pickling the lactic acid is a living organism, or whatever it is. It's a living organism, and it keeps producing, and it wants room. So guess what's going to happen? Blow up. But if you keep it in the refrigerator, it stops the process. Now, if you want to age your sauerkraut a little bit longer, sometimes people like to get that tangy, fizzy taste, especially like kimchi. What you do is just leave it on the shelf for just a couple hours or so, let it get warm, and then it'll kind of must up. Must is what it's kind of called, and it'll be a fizzy sauerkraut. But people, Koreans like to eat fizzy kimchi. But that's how you do it. Just leave it out for a couple days or a couple hours, excuse me, so that it. Pardon? Yeah, you just keep it in the cans and the jars, and keep it in the refrigerator. If you cook it and actually can it, you're going to kill everything, and you might as well just go get something off the store shelf, because what you're doing is you're pasteurizing the sauerkraut. You do not want to do that. You want the live probiotics that are in the sauerkraut itself. Now, the interesting thing is you're seeing a lot of commercials now for probiotic medicines and stuff like that. The reason is because our society has become so sterile that we now have to put these probiotics back into our system because we're not even getting them in our food products anymore. So this is a very healthy food, great food, tastes wonderful. I love it. And I make a vegetable medley. Yeah.
I have heard of cabbage, fresh cabbage juice being used as a topical
Yeah.
antibiotic, so I suspect that the fermented would probably be just as well, if not better.
Well, they've done it also for a cure for ulcer, to help cure ulcers and things. There's a lot of weird stuff about the cabbage juice, as well as something called kombucha, which is something else I make and ferment. But let me get moving here. Dehydrating. I love dehydrating. I don't can much anymore because I dehydrate. And I have found that dehydrating is a lot better. You're able to store a lot more, and it lasts a lot longer. And in some cases, with food that is dehydrated, it'll last 20 years, and if you take care of it properly. And it's a great way of keeping your food. How many here garden? Oh, great. Awesome, man. You guys need a dehydrator. And I'm not talking one of these round Ronco dehydrators you see on TV. What you want to get is let's see if I got it. Nope. Another one.
What I'm doing here is I'm washing peaches. As everybody knows, peaches have got fuzz on them. And what I plan on doing is dehydrating peaches. We had peaches on sale at the store for 97 cents a pound, so I ended up buying a case of them. Got a good deal on it, and when prices like that come around, you take advantage of it. So that's what I'm doing. Going to be dehydrating peaches. So I thought I'd show you how. What you want to do is when you're dehydrating, you want to have the best quality that you can get. And by going through your peaches, when you buy a box or something, find really good quality peaches. No bruises, no soft spots, no worm holes, nothing like that. But get good peach. That's what I've done. I've gone through my case of peaches, and this is my first round of peaches that I got. And these are going to be the first ones that I get to hydrate. So hopefully by tomorrow we'll have some nice dehydrated peaches. So these are nice, beautiful looking peaches. Here in Texas, like I said, we grow peaches. We're famous for our peaches here in the Texas Hill Country. And so dehydrating them is a great way to preserve. And once you dehydrate your produce, a lot of times it can last 10, 20, even 30 years if you keep it in good condition. You put oxygen absorbers in, keep it in a cool, dark place, your dehydrated foods will last quite a long time. To reconstitute these, all you would do is just add boiling water. You can then get a cobbler or cake, or just serve as is and turn into a really good dessert, make a compote out of it. But dehydrated peaches, really great thing to have around. Now, one of the issues with dehydrating is your peaches turning brown. And one of the things that you do to do that is you can use products like Fruit Fresh. You can buy that at the grocery store. But what I use is called sodium bisulfite. See, however you say it here. But basically this is an acid, in a sense, that will help prevent your peaches from turning brown, getting moldy, and help maintain a good appearance during the dehydration process. Another thing that you can do is also use lemon juice. You can add lemon juice to the water, and it's usually about a half a cup to 1 gallon. And again, that will help prevent your peaches from turning brown, or your pears or apples or whatever. But it's an acid, but anything acidic will help preserve the fruit better and also help prevent it turning brown. All my peaches here ready to go. And I'm just going to drain them off here. He's been soaking for a little bit. And as you can see, they are really nice and beautiful looking, not brown or anything, whereas if you normally would have cut these up and they would already start turning brown. But I've got a nice batch of peaches ready to dehydrate here. My trays here, these are my dehydrating trays, and what I'm going to do is just put some of my peaches on here, just kind of spread them out, and make them get some room between them. Really don't let them stack on top of each other or anything like that. And this is a tray of peaches ready to go. So I'm going to put it in my dehydrator. Is my Excalibur food dehydrator. This is one of the greatest dehydrators to get. I love this thing. Let me show you what's inside here. You can see here's my peaches starting to dehydrate, and if there was such a thing as smell-o-vision, you would be smelling peaches like crazy right now. So this is my dehydrator, so we're starting to dehydrate. You can see I got some trays of peaches going here. And so by tomorrow we should have some really good dehydrated peaches. Well, you can see here we are done with dehydrating the peaches. You can see they get a nice color to them, nice and orange. They're nice and crispy. Hear the crisp. Nice and crispy going. And I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trays here. Good stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to now pack them up and put them in a bottle here. Now I have a couple things here. I have a wide mouth jar, mason jar. This is what I'm going to store my peaches in. Also, I'm going to be using oxygen absorbers. What you do is you drop one of these in the jar, and it actually sucks the oxygen and air out of the jar and helps seal the jar, helps keep moisture away. Excellent product. You use these for, when you're storing any of your dehydrated foods or such. Well, I've got a whole jar here of dehydrated peaches, and I'm going to put in an oxygen absorber, and this will keep the peaches, like I said, real crispy, real fresh. And oxygen is the enemy when in dehydrating foods. It moisturizes, causes mold, and so forth. But by putting an oxygen absorber in here and then sealing the top really nice and tight, this should last quite a while. Dehydrated peaches, folks. Very good.
My peaches around my house last a month because they got eaten. Right. But normally in something like that, those can last probably up to about 10 years. Quite a long time. Freeze drying and dehydrating are two great ways of preserving food. And with the dehydrator, this is the Excalibur. And I totally recommend this product. Pricey. People go, oh my God, $200. But, I need my mic up here too. A lot of people look at this and say, oh my goodness, $200. But I have dehydrated so much food that if I would have gone out and bought that food, it would have been astronomical. I would have had to buy this. I could have bought this food dehydrated, 10, 15 times. I mean, I dehydrate like crazy. I make my own salsa. In Texas, we eat salsa. How many here know what salsa is? Yeah, good. But I make my own salsa. Well, I always make way too much than is going to get eaten. I dehydrate it. And what happens is that you now have a mixture that's all the water's out and it's kind of a flat blob looking thing. Well, I then run that through the blender and now I have seasoning salt because I have salt and pepper and cayenne and tomatoes and cilantro and all the other seasonings that I have in my salsa. And because what the dehydrator does is it intensifies the taste of the food. I can't explain it, but it concentrates it. And it's just, the kids and family, I dehydrate tomatoes all the time and I put seasoning salt on it. And it doesn't last very long at all because they eat them like snacks. And it's like, they're tomato chips is what we call them. But I used to do it in my food storage thing. But the problem is that because they're crispy and when they crisp up, they'll have a sharp edge. I've popped the bags. So because it sucks the air out so tight that it will, a chip or something will poke that bag just so small that you lose your vacuum seal. And then what happens is moisture and oxygen gets in through that little hole and destroys your food. So I've just learned to use mason jars and oxygen absorbers, and they haven't failed me yet. I keep my food in my laundry room, which has no natural light in there, so it's a dark place, and my food stays great. I've got beef jerky that I made 2 years ago, and I gave a piece to a friend of mine just the other day, and it's still good. And it's a lot of the stuff like on my beef jerky that I made, I cubed it up from a roast that we had left over. Anything you have left over, throw in your dehydrator. And you'll be amazed at what you can then preserve. But my beef, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use that for beef soup someday. And just slice it up or make it, crumble it up, run it through your blender, whatever you need to do to make it smaller or something. But use it for beef soup or something. Yeah.
Do you normally maybe do 2 or 3 rows, or you try to do all 9?
It depends on what I have. Honestly, I bought the dehydrator, one because I love dehydrating, but we always have leftovers every meal. I don't know why it is. My wife and I, when we cook, it seems like we're cooking for an army. We just haven't learned how to scale that down yet. I don't know. It's all the kids and stuff that come over all the time too. So we got teenagers, so that should explain it all. But we always have leftovers, and I hate the fact that every time that we would put something in the refrigerator, it would turn into a science experiment 2 months later, and it just never gets eaten. And so my family, my wife, she's notorious for not eating leftovers. She doesn't like them. I can whip something together if I feel like cooking, and she'll eat it. But left to her own devices, she won't eat it. So we were wasting a lot of food. I hate waste, and especially food. So the dehydrator is what we use to help with our leftovers. And it's amazing what I've dehydrated, like green beans or peas or corn or whatever. It's leftover. Throw it through the dehydrator. Next morning, I have a jar. I have actually a couple jars that I call my soup mix. And what I do is if I have like a handful of beans left over, instead of throwing them away, I'll throw them in the dehydrator, dehydrate them overnight, throw it in my jar, and I just keep adding to my jar. Carrots, beans, peas, corn, whatever goes into my jar. I also now have another jar started for my hot stuff. I'm not really keen on the fiery hot habanero stuff that's famous down in Texas. I don't really like it that much, but my wife does. And so things that she cooks with habaneros and everything, I'll dehydrate that, and I got that into a jar itself. So if she wants to do a hot and spicy soup or a hot whatever, she's got that too. So it's a great way to make sure that your food gets stretched for even a longer period of time.
Does it actually rehydrate when you make it into a
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, yeah. Same thing, boiling water. I put them in boiling water, and they rehydrate up, or actually a light syrup mixture, and you can do that. And it turns out really good. Or you bake them in a cake, or you throw them in like grits. Oh, grits. Y'all know what grits are? Okay. But grits or cream of wheat or oatmeal or something, but they'll rehydrate in the cooking process. So tell you what, let me take your questions towards the end. Let me continue moving forward here. I got a Q&A session. I know you got tons of questions. Another product I love the food storage thing. This is great for storing meat and keeping it in the freezer. But again, you have to be careful about your sharp edges because it will puncture. This is really good for like storing. What we've done, we've got care packages. I've got a couple 5-gallon buckets specially made to give away. And what I've done is I've taken some beans and taken some corn, taken some rice and other stuff, and I've all vacuum packed it all. And I have two 5-gallon buckets that are specifically made so that when someone needs help, I can just give them the bucket. It's got a Bible in it, food, everything else, and that's what I give away. So that's my again, if we're not able to help others, that's my whole deal. Helping others, help share the gospel. And a great way to share the gospel in hard times, give them food. So now I'm not going to give to every single person, so if you show up at my doorstep here someday soon, you guys need to come to my gun class next. But this is a great product, and I've used this to make these 5-gallon buckets and things. You can also store your herbs in these. Now, what I also store my herbs in, vitamins, and you'll see these glass jars that are usually brown or green. And I have found those to be great herb storage jars. And that's why I store my herbs in now. But you can suck the air out of those, throw in an oxygen absorber with your herbs and everything. Another product, I love my Wonder Mill. Oh my goodness, this is great. Y'all who make bread, get one of these. These are the best. Now, I'm probably out there, you know, no, I like this other one. I love it's a Blendtec. I always call it the Wonder Mill. The Wonder Mill is another one out there that's really popular. But I got the Blendtec. This is what the Mormons use. So I guess if the Mormons use it, I guess it's good enough for me. And in fact, I use a lot of LDS resources, and there's a couple LDS forums out there that around January or February, they have a special sale that if you go to one of these Mormon resources and mention some secret code word they got, you can buy this, what is this, normally $150? You can buy it for like $127. I was looking everywhere for the website and everything because I wanted to share it with you, and I couldn't find it. But I know towards the beginning of the year, January, February timeframe, is when the Mormons ramp up. And so a lot of the prepper stuff, big money items, this is a big money item, they will have sales on. So start trolling around on the LDS boards, and you may find sales on all kinds of stuff during January, February, and March, because that's when they're ramping up every year. They do a new ramp up. Oh. But I love my Blendtec. This thing will grind up beans, wheat, rice, any sort of dry grain. It don't do coffee or peanuts. It won't do that. Anything oily, it'll destroy it. But interesting thing enough is that if people who are gluten intolerant, can you guys eat butter? I don't know if you can or not, but ground up beans, when you make a ground up bean wheat flour or a bean flour, and then add a little water to it. Anywhere where you would use butter in your recipe, replace it with beans, bean paste. And so if you have a white cake that is dealing or needing butter, use white beans. If you have a brown cake, use brown beans, so forth. Whatever color of the cake or item that you're using that needs butter, then you're baking, as for strictly for baking, use beans in a replacement for butter. And it works. You'll actually get a really moist, I've tried it, you get a moist cake. Oops, already did that one. Canners. I love this thing. The American, 921? Yeah. This is the best pressure cooker in the world. And they make a smaller size, I believe it's the 915. And then they also make a larger size called the 925 and then on up, 930, 935. And they just get bigger. The 921 is a per size. And the reason is because you can hold a couple chickens in it by itself. You want to cook a dinner, you can actually use this to cook a dinner. Throw a couple chickens in, throw in your veggies, throw in over everything else. And it'll cook in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. But the wonderful thing about this also is that it has a decent amount of room to can your meats, or if you're using whatever else you're going to can, what the tomato products. I don't know if tomato products, does it have to be under pressure like this? No, you can just do it in a straight water bath. Okay, yeah. I primarily bought this because we raise chickens, and we always get stinking too many roosters. Well, I let my roosters kind of run around for a while, and they get really tough. If you don't eat a chicken under 90 days, then they turn tough and they're yucky. Well, my roosters, what I can do is dispatch them quickly, clean them up, throw them in here, and they're nice, soft, and edible. So you can eat them, but you can also can them. But can your meat, can fish, you can go down to the store and buy those big gonzo bags of turkey thighs or chicken thighs, excuse me, and can those up. This is a great canner for canning meat, and that's why I bought it. So we have, because one of the things you'll find that you'll be lacking when you start doing your food preps is protein. Protein's critical, and if you don't have enough protein in your diet, you'll develop rickets. You'll develop, there's some other diseases too of lack of protein, but primarily rickets. And so it's important. Everybody thinks, oh, I got my grains and I got this and we got this. But if you look at the nutrient value, the protein is always lacking because people don't really know how to store meat except making beef jerky. So this is a great way to store meat and make your own. Otherwise, a whole chicken, I mean, you can probably still find them every once in a while, but a whole canned chicken is about $6 or $7 per can. I mean, that's a lot of money. Why not just do it yourself? Mason jars and some chicken thighs. But you're able to can fish, can beef, basically any livestock that you may have, goats, lamb, and everything. But that's the main reason. We needed a protein source, so now we can our own meat. And it's pretty good too. It's real good actually. Another product that I highly recommend. This was the first prepper tool we ever bought, and I love it. In fact, I love it so much I became a representative of the company. This one product I do make money off of. All these other ones I don't. So in my recommendations, this one I do make money off of. I believe in this company. And they've been around for 6-7 years, but the company is called Shelf Reliance. And how they came into business, they're a Mormon company and all this other junk, but the wife was having a hard time storing and rotating her food. Well, husband said, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some Gorilla shelves and adapt it and everything. And that's what he did, is he made a bunch of rails made out of wood and everything, attached it to his Gorilla shelf, and built something for his wife. Well, his other Mormon friends found out, hey, this is pretty cool. Can you build one for me? So he started building shelves on the weekend, and all of a sudden he was building shelves more and more and more. And he said, man, there's got to be a better way, an easier way, and more sound way to do this. And that's how the company came about, is building and making these shelves. And the great thing is, it's you put food in the top, new food up, old food out. And how many here prep? Okay. What about your can rotation system? How many have a good can rotation? You got a harvester, huh? 2? Got one? Built one, yeah. You got one? Yeah, love it? Yeah, great. This is the greatest thing in the world. This holds about 600 cans. It's amazing. I still haven't filled it up yet, and we've owned it for 3 years. But this one product has saved us money because we're able to buy in bulk and then use the food. For those of you who, I was talking to a lady here this morning over breakfast, and she was telling me her rotation system. I mean, her and her husband are pulling stuff out, putting stuff in, marking it on. They got Post-it notes everywhere. I mean, and I started laughing, and I said, okay, all right, tell me, Donna, how many beets do you have way back in the back? Or how about that pumpkin pie mix? How much of that you got in the back? And she started busting up. And because you say in your mind, oh, I'm rotating it because I'm not going to eat it that much. I'll just put it in the back. Well, it doesn't work, folks. So this is a great product. It's called the Harvester 72, and it comes in all different sizes. If you have a closet that you need specially made, the company has all these different sizes of shelves that will fit right in your closet. You can even have them make you one, maybe a little bit more, but it is an awesome. I can't speak enough about it. If you're serious about your food preparations, get this. And if you order it from me, I can get it to you for like $300-something. Yeah, for $376. If you go to my table, you'll see my freeze-dried products and stuff. I have those filled up too. And so they rotate, and it's a great system. This is a great product to get to prep. Okay. How many out here are looking into MREs as your food solution pros? Okay. Be ready to be scared. A lot of people think that MREs are the greatest thing in the world. They are not. They're horrible, actually, in a long-term food situation. Right here is the shelf life of an MRE. MREs are very temperature sensitive. So if you don't keep it below, what is it? Usually the great temperature to keep it is about, they say about 40 degrees. If you have them at 40 degrees, they'll last quite a long time, 60 months. So MREs are not a great long-term food solution. They go bad. Now, they're still edible, but how many here have heard starvation by rabbit? If you eat rabbit too long, especially wild-caught rabbit, you might have a full belly, but you'll actually starve to death nutritionally wise. And again, you'll develop rickets, you'll develop, what are some of the other diseases? I forget, but it's a lack of protein. Rabbits have absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever, wild ones. Wild rabbits, not farm raised. Farm raised are different because you can control what they eat and be able to put protein into their diet and everything. But interesting thing here, this is applesauce. When you keep your MREs at the suggested temperature and everything, but you can also see what happens to it when you get over the temperature. 40 degrees looks great, 80 degrees looks okay, 100 degrees you start turning a little brown, 140 degrees looks like mud, 120 degrees. Now, if you opened this up, would you eat it? No, I wouldn't. I don't know about you guys, but down in Texas right now it's 112. So if I had MREs stored in my garage, they'd be going bad route right now. So the shelf life of an MRE out of over 120 is, I think, 1 month. Here's another one. Cheese spread. Just, how many guys in the Army? Cheese spread? Yeah. I saw you shake your head when I said it, and so you know it. But you can see what it looks like and how it degrades by temperature. So a lot of people are out there running to these gun shows and getting on the internet and everything, buying cases of MREs and everything. Don't waste your money. Go ahead.
The ones that you're buying are past the age.
Yeah.
That's why they've been released.
Mm-hmm. So now the thing is that you can eat these MREs that you're buying, and you can even eat these MREs. The taste and everything of the 140 degree MRE kind of still tastes the same. It ain't pleasant looking, but the problem is there's absolutely zero nutritional value there. You're filling your gut, but you're starving yourself to death. And so it's a waste of money in the long run. My recommendation, again, Shelf Reliance is a company that I believe in. And when they started making these shelving systems, they started actually selling all these other food items, these companies and stuff, and they started hearing back from their clients, like, this food ain't too great. Companies like Provident Pantry, companies like Mountain House, companies like, was it eFoods, some of the others out there. I've tried them all, folks, okay? I've pretty much tried them all. I love Shelf Reliance. If you come on down to my table, I'll let you try some of my Shelf Reliance food. It is insanely good. Now the thing is, and see, this is people's mentality. Man, I don't want to be spending a lot of money. I don't spend that much money. I'm going to be spending the exact same amount that if I would buy with Provident Pantry. Provident Pantry, everybody looks how cheap it is. Oh, I'm going to buy that. Spend a couple bucks more and get good stuff. Because, you know, oh no, yeah, this is freeze-dried. It's all freeze-dried. There is some dehydrated also. But there are a couple other companies out there that make really good quality freeze-dried food, but their market is limited. It's usually just Colorado or Idaho or something. They don't ship out of state or anything like that. But Shelf Reliance has excellent, excellent food. And they have a program here. Why Shelf Reliance? I'm still here sitting here. Something about Shelf Reliance that I like, 98% of the food is grown here in the U.S. Companies like Provident Pantry and eFoods and some of the others is food from China or food from wherever. So you don't know the quality that you're getting. Shelf Reliance, when they hire a farmer, they contract the farmer. The farmer will only grow for Shelf Reliance. And then they will actually send out inspectors multiple times throughout the year to check on the farmer, see how they're doing. They are good to their farmers. They pay them well. And if anything, they pay them a little bit too much because they want good, excellent product. They don't want poorly grown food and just thrown out there. They want the best. And so that's one of the primary reasons why I like Shelf Reliance, because they really work hard at making sure that their quality of food is insanely good. Again, because 20 years from now, you're going to open up one of these cans and you're going to get good, natural, healthy food. So it's very important. Shelf Reliance also is getting ready to ramp up all organic and all gluten-free. They are actually building facilities so that whole facility will be dedicated to organic or dedicated to gluten-free. And so they're taking this seriously. Now, another thing too is what we do in our family. We eat from our food stores. We don't buy and then store it in a room. I constantly eat off of this. And so me and my family, we're eating this freeze-dried stuff. And it's good. It's part of our daily meals. Now, the interesting thing is I'm saving money. One can of peas or green beans or corn has about 40 servings of 40 servings. So, for example, if that one can of corn costs $13 and I'm getting 40 servings out of that $13, if I would take that same $13 and go down to the grocery store, I wouldn't be able to buy that. And again, come to my table, taste what this stuff tastes like. I got some green peas with me. They're insane. My grandson, he's got this little cup of food that he runs around with. He loves the peas. I got some yogurt down there. He loves the yogurt. He loves the pineapple. I mean, it's all great food, but we use it, and I stand by it. It's what I feed my family, and I'm not going to put my good name on it if it's not good. But again, spend the couple extra bucks to get something of quality, because down the road you're going to be dealing with food fatigue, and food fatigue kills, and I don't know how much I can stress that. Yeah. When you open up a can of, for example, good question, excellent. What do you do with the extra food that once you've opened up a number 10 can? It will last about a year and a half. And it has oxygen absorbers in there. And as long as you keep the food in a good, dry, dark place and not abuse it and everything, the open can will last a year and a half. And I mean, the cans that I've got open is actually what we eat off of. And you're more than welcome to come up and try it and eat off of it yourself. It's really good, but it lasts a long time. The cans themselves last 25 years. Some of the dairy products will last 5 to 7 because dairy has fats in it. Now they try to take a lot of the fat out, but still dairy does not last that long. Vegetables, fruits, meats, proteins, things like that will last quite a long time, but the dairies don't. But it's the fact that they have freeze-dried dairy. I got a can of butter powder that is insane. This stuff is delicious. And you add, the ratio is 1 teaspoon or 1 tablespoon powder to 1 tablespoon water. I found you add just a little less water, it's just like butter. It's wonderful. And I have a number 10 can that I bought for, you keep shaking your head, about $20 for a number 10 can, or $21? Yeah, about $21 for a 1 gallon size of butter powder. Now, for 21 bucks, can you go out and buy a gallon of butter? No, you can't. So our family, I'm figuring up, if I did my math right, I should save about $5,000 to $7,000 for my grocery bill because I'm buying in bulk. And food is awesome tasting. Now, here's another thing. A lot of people say they can't afford food. Now, one of the things that Shelf Reliance has done is created what's called the Q program. And with the Q program, what it is you name the price, you name when it's going to get shipped, and you decide what foods you want to buy. You can go on the website, take their food calculator, and you can say how many people have in your family, what's their ages, what's their age, blah, 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 blah. And it will throw together how long of food storage you want, 1 year. They'll throw together this big, huge mound of food. Now you can go in there, edit it. I personally take out all the wheat and the beans and rice because a lot of that stuff I've got already. But keep the other stuff. Now what they'll do is, for example, the 8th of the month is when we've chosen to ship. So on the 8th, I give them a price of $50, or actually $60. And so they'll put together food up to $60 and not go over and ship it to me. And every month I have food showing up on my doorstep. I love it. And for people who say, man, I can't handle buying all this food, and they're freaking out and everything like this is a great program. In the military, it's kind of like fire and forget. This is what you do. You just buy and forget. It's already taken care of for you. Every month, a new shipment. Now, if you want, you can even push those shipments further. I mean, ever closer. So if I get my shipment on the 8th, I can now go to my next shipment that's going to be coming to me on, July? August 8th. I said, well, ship me that shipment now. So they'll ship up the next shipment. And so every month I get $50 worth of food, which ends up being about a case, which is 6 cans of something. And so that's not a bad price for $50. It really isn't. I'm getting food that we're going to eat. And now I don't have to take exactly what they're shipping me that month. Say I don't want oatmeal, so I'll trade it out for something else. Put in more pomegranate yogurt or something like that. I don't know. But that's what we do. They've made it very, very flexible, very, very affordable. And so anybody, how many here is going to spend $50 on food? Throughout this month, who's going to spend? Yeah, thought so. Reallocate your money. Reallocate your budget. Say if you have a $500 budget, $300 budget for food. I don't know what your budget is. Ours is horrendous because we get teenagers. But allocate some of that money, take it out, and say, I'm using this for my food prep, because it's food that you're going to eat anyways. And so sign up for a Q program and get this food delivered to you every month. It's a great way to take baby steps. And I totally believe it. I do it myself. I love this program. And if you're interested in it, come talk to me, and I'll help you. Or go to my website, Gano.shelfreliance.com. Now, here's another cool thing. Again, I'm selling to you here because I'm a representative of the company and I believe in what they do. All these other stuff, I love their products and I believe in what they do. But I love this because everybody's worried about food. Because I'm a representative, I earn a 10% commission on everything I sell. So on the average, me and my wife make about $350 a month. But on top of that, we also make about 10% in free food. And so every month, we earn about $350 worth of free food, because we got people who buy from us, or they go to my website and sign up for the queue, or do this or do that. But my readers buy from me. And now I've got readers who also, hey man, how can I get this free food and stuff like that? They're doing it too. How many friends out here do you know that need food to eat? Yeah, everybody. So you know people who need food. With today's prices that are going through the roof, buying in bulk is a very good solution. Like I said, I'm saving about $5,000 to $7,000 a year with feeding my family by doing this. And this is not full 100% of my meal. I augment my food with about 25% of Shelf Reliance. And then, so for example, we made tacos the other night. And I bought a pound of hamburger meat, and then also supplemented with called Taco TVP. And this stuff is insane. I didn't even have to spice my taco, my meat or anything. I took 1 cup of taco TVP, put it in with the meat itself, added a half cup of water, and boom, done. Tacos, instantly spiced and everything. It tastes great. I loved it. Pardon? Taco Bell. Yeah. So if you like Taco Bell, go eat this. But it's good, and the kids love it. You know, that's important to me is kids, because again, I'm very concerned about food fatigue. And then having all this stuff on hand, for example, I have some bacon TVP up at my table. Come try it out. It's like basically it's bacon bits. Is what it is. But I'll grab a fistful of it, throw it in my eggs when I cook for me and my grandson. My grandson loves it. Spices up the eggs really good. I've got some good texture to the eggs and everything. But it's wonderful, wonderful food. So I can sit here and talk forever about shelf reliance and the foods and everything. But I tell you about this because I'm making money and getting free food. So if you're interested in making money and getting free food, come talk to me. That right there is I ordered 1 month worth of food for about $350, and that's what we got. The can solidator is something that we just wanted one of those. I actually got that up at the table. I haven't put it together or anything like that, but this goes into your shelf, and that will hold 20 cans. And so it's helping with your preps by putting these into your cabinets, and they come in different sizes, different heights, all kinds of stuff, but you're able to store a lot more food using these can solidators, and the can solidator I think was about $19. So real good price for those. And when you're a rep for the company, you get even cheaper prices too. So finally, oh my goodness, I'm running way over time, aren't I? I gotta hurry. Water. Okay, I'm gonna speed it up here, folks. We've talked a lot about food here. Now we need to talk about water. My goodness. Okay, the rules of 3 R's. I mean, the rule of threes. 3 minutes without air, you die. 3 days without water, you die. Without 3 weeks of food, you die. The rule of threes. If you don't remember them, you die. So, 3 days without water, you die. That's a fact. Now, sure, people have beaten it and everything like that, but your system begins to shut down if after 3 days without drinking water. I suggest, and a lot of other people suggest, that you have 1 gallon per person per day. If you're doing water storage, that is the minimum, 1 gallon per person per day. You can add more to that, that's even better, 3 gallons per person and so forth, but the minimum, you need 1 gallon per person per day, and that's just for drinking. That isn't cleaning or doing dishes or going to the bathroom or anything like that. So it's just drinking. Recommendations. This is a company out of Utah, great company. They sell these 2 different tanks, water storage tanks. This 275-gallon tank is meant to be stored in a closet. So you can have a water storage system right there in your home, in your closet. Now, I don't know how much it weighs, so you may want to like put some more beams or stuff or underneath that area. If you're on a slab, then that's okay, but a lot of weight. But it's actually a very reasonable price with $429 for the 275. That's actually a decent price. And its website is surewatertanks.com. Other water solutions. I am a big fan of the Berkey system. I own a Royal Berkey, which is the one that's got the arrow on it right there. That will do, I want to say it does about 3 gallons a minute, 3 gallons an hour. And it's a porous filter, porcelain filter system, and it will take out 99.9% of just about any yucky out there. Yucky. It will take out bacteria, cysts, parasites, extracting chemicals including herbicides, pesticides, organic solvents, VOCs. It will also take out heavy metals, chromium, copper, lead, mercury, aluminum. You see it here, folks. This is the filter to get. And we have a pond. That's part of my water storage system. We've got a pond or a tank in Texas is what we call them. And this is what my cattle drink out of. So it's kind of nasty. But I can go down there, fill up my 5-gallon jugs, bring it back up, run it through my Berkey system, and it's totally drinkable. And you're not going to die. You're not going to get any bugs in your gut or anything like that. It's a very, very good system. And in fact, go to theberkeyguy.com, go to berkeyguy.com and tell him Ray from PZ Radio sent you. And he may throw in some extra stuff. Probably be like a sport Berkey bottle, which if you've seen any of my videos on the internet, I sit there and I'm at a kiddie pool that's full of algae and my dogs play in it and my chickens drink out of it and everything. And I scoop up some water in this Berkey sport bottle, cap it up, squirt it out to get it going. And I sit there and drink it right there on camera for you to see. And it's great water. The Berkey filter system is insanely good. Again, 99% out of, it takes out everything. So, no, it's all gravity fed. So, yeah. Pardon? You don't. Well, actually, you do. After you use it, I want to see 500 or 600 gallons, they say take it out and spray the filters off. The filters basically are reusable over and over and over again. You just have to, they're ceramic. You just clean. No, you don't. They can get broken. If you tighten them down too much, they can get broken, or just from use, knocking it over, because I'm sure you'll do that too. And but they really don't need to be priced, although it's good to have some on hand. I'm always a believer in backup systems. Oops, back. Now, finally, this is a solution that we've settled for. One, it's cost effective, but the 55-gallon tank, where with Shelf Reliance, I'm able to get these. You can get the water supply kit for $109, and then it's like something like $15 shipment or something. But that's 55 gallons. We have one for each family member. We've got plenty of water going. I'm not storing water for the apocalypse or the mutant invasion or zombies or anything like that. My plan is that when hyperinflation takes, we're going to see about two weeks of chaos, and then within a month, man is going to naturally adapt and overcome. We may not like it, so I figure all I need to do is make it through a month, and then things are going to start to settle down, and we're going to see prices being affected and everything like that. So it's good to have about a 1 year's worth of food supply and everything like that, but at a minimum, have about a month, because that'll get you through the time of chaos. That's what I see coming. I'm not one who, EMP, there's people out there who like looking at the EMP attack and nuke attack and terrorists and everything like that. Yeah, that can happen, but if I'm going to be a betting man and place odds, I'm going to bet that hyperinflation is going to come first, or some sort of economic depression or something is going to come first. Medical first aid. Company here, I'm running real quick here through this stuff because I'm talking too much. Quick Care. Website is quickcare.com. Quickcare, excuse me. Quakekare. Quake Care. They're out of California. I discovered them when I lived back in California. I lived through the Loma Prieta earthquake, the one that had the Giants and the A's playing, the World Series earthquake. I was in that, and it was pretty horrendous. A lot of people died, destroyed a lot of the Bay Area. But this company came out about that, and now they primarily supply for earthquake and natural disasters. So it's a very cost-effective website. I love their 25-person kit. I've got 2 of these. They're $22. You can afford it. I've got it. I haven't even opened it, but it's there. So now I've got a first aid kit that will treat 25 people. So for $22. Another thing I like about Quake Care, they got pet first aid kits. My dog just was recently bitten by a rattlesnake. Would this have helped? No, but I have, I do have a pet first aid kit for my pet. So I'm not digging into my first aid kit for them. They've got their own first aid kit. So again, very cost effective, $23, and I've got 2 of those because we got 6 dogs. This is my home everyday medicine cabinet, and it's actually in the kitchen, but I can treat pretty much almost anything besides any major injury or anything like that, which I can too. I've got that in a different area, but I've got all kinds of different meds and everything here. We try to keep the following: large bottles of pain relievers, aspirin, naproxen sodium, so forth, and big bottles like 100 pills per bottle and everything. When hyperinflation hits, medicine is going to be off the shelf, and resupplying them is going to be gone. You would be amazed at how much we depend on pain relievers. I mean, you get a headache, what's the first thing you do? You reach for the aspirin. What happens if there's no aspirin? You deal with the headache. Now, I know other ways of getting rid of it and everything like that through natural medicine and stuff, but, I mean, so get your pain relievers is probably number one. So aspirins, Tylenols, Aleve, naproxodiums. Have a different variety of everything, because some are anti-inflammatory, some of them are actually dealing with fever reducers and so forth. So by having 100, 200 count bottles on hand, and then start using them too, and start rotating them like you do anything else. And shelf life, exactly. So, and in fact, let's see, you can see my box of Advil up there. Well, right here, hold on. Allergy time, real bad. I got backup here. Nose spray, cough syrup, Sambucol. I've got a couple bottles of Sambucol. I always keep at least double of everything, because you're using one, you have one in reserve as your backup, and then when you go into your reserve, you buy a new one. And open up an Amazon Prime account. I don't know if anybody you guys here use Amazon. We use it like crazy because we live out in the country and I hate shopping at Walmart. But Amazon Prime, $75, free shipping for 1 year. So you can buy a lot of this stuff really cheap from Amazon, and they will drop ship it to your door. So use Amazon, get your meds, and it's a great way to get meds and get them inexpensively. But you can see here, first aid gels, ointments, creams, cuts, sunburn. We live in Texas. Sunburn, flu prevention, stomach ailments, sore muscles, allergies, betadine solution, rubbing alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, snake bite kit. Now this is something that you don't see here, but I have it. I have a snake bite kit, and I'll show it to you later. But a gun and knife wound kit. This is something that you need to look into. A shot kit, or a what is that? Blowout kit is what it's also called. But in the days coming, crime is going to rise. You're going to start seeing a rise in violent crime. It's already happening. So people getting shot, people being stabbed is something that you're going to have to deal with realistically. Having a kit on hand to stop the bleeding and be able to treat is going to be very important. It's going to save your life. So getting a gun wound kit, and it's going to consist of quick clot, which is a blood clotting material, a tourniquet, and a compression bandage. So that's a quick blowout kit. Now, 2 books you guys need to have on hand. These are the greatest things in the world, is Where There Is No Doctor and Where There Is No Dentist. And these came about due to missionary needs. These books were written for missionaries so that when they go in the jungles of deepest, darkest Africa, they were able to treat themselves and treat others. And these books are basically a hospital in a book. Now, I'm not one here advocating where you become your own doctor and treat yourself and blah, 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 blah. But have this on hand. Learn it, read it, so that when time comes where you need to. That's the knife I carry, one of them. I bought it brand new one day, and when I was mucking around with it, closed it on my finger and almost sliced my whole tip of my finger right off. I was spurting blood like crazy, going all over the place. If I didn't have a knife wound kit, if I didn't have quick clot and everything, it was horrible. I was bleeding everywhere. So it's good just to have that on hand. But I say that because I'm glad that I had it. Otherwise, what would I have done? Now, another thing, how you treated this is super glue, because that's what they're going to do at the hospital anyways. Super glue it, put some butterfly stitches on it, and boom, you're ready. Oh, Where There Is No Doctor. On my CDs, this is my PZ survival pack that I was talking to Roger about. I've got about 800 different files on both of these CDs, and they're video, audio, PDFs, ebooks, you name it, manuals, you name it. I've spent a couple of years putting these together. I also have Prophecy's Guide to Silver, which is about a 1-hour video DVD, and I actually walk people through the process of buying silver, why buy silver. I'm not an advocate of gold. I think I'm a big advocate for silver, and I actually teach you how to do it. You want silver in hand, not at the bank or somewhere else. But a lot of people need to know how to buy silver. And so I teach you how to do it. And I also teach you how to find silver at pennies on the dollar, because it's still out there. So buy mine. And actually, I've got a special going. Special is, I'll let you read my special here. There's a secret code word if you come up and tell me Rosebud. If you come up and tell me Rosebud, I'll give you an 8-hour MP3 CD. And it's from my radio show that I produce, or what I do. I do a radio show for Preparedness Radio Network, and it's an 8-hour. So buy my book, mention Rosebud, and I'll give you a CD too. So, or better yet, buy my book, buy my PZ thing for $60, and you also get that too. So you're saving $5 on the book. I don't prep because of some security problem I have. I prep for, God told me to always occupy till I return and always be ready to share the hope. I prep not only for me and my family, I prep to be a good witness and ambassador for Christ. That's who I am. I'm an ambassador for Christ. And if I am able to help someone with like my 5-gallon bucket, I have a 5-gallon bucket, ready to give somebody. I am ready to share the gospel. I'm ready to share the hope. And a great way to share the hope is through food.